Welcome back to Unfiltered Unspoken podcast, where we told you we're going to continue to share life experiences. We have another amazing testimony to share, and I'm not going to get deep into it, but let's just say Miss Arkansas, and she got some comedian tactics going on. Welcome, Miss Arkansas.
Good evening. Good evening. Yes, I do.
Yes, we ready for it too. Thank you for being a guest on Unfiltered Unspoken podcast. Can you come up and tell us a little bit about yourself? And then City Sid is going to kick off that first question.
Well, I'm a scripper. No, I'm joking. I am a mom of four, grandmother of 11, and I just got my first great grandbaby. So that's really my blessing. But other than that, I am a comedian, have been a little over 30 years. And I also got in some trouble over 30 years. That what made me get out and become one of the best comedians there is. Uh, I travel all around the world. I'm pretty much like a police or a fireman. I'm on call. If you call me with a budget, I go to work. That pretty much sums it up.
Well, thank you again, excuse me, for being here with us this evening. Um, as we all, have seen in various instances, comedians usually, come from some rough things or seen some things, experienced some things, and have turned that pain into laughter. Um, with everyone, we always like to know, what was the very beginning like for you? What was childhood like growing up, your home structure, and if you experienced any trauma in those adolescent years?
Well, I had both parents in the home, my mom and my dad. And they was together until God decided to call both of them home. Not at the same time, but they was married for 52 years. I can't keep a man 52 seconds. But anyway, I have nine other siblings. Nine of us is actually still living. One is gone home to be with the Lord or wherever she is. I'm praying that's where she is. Uh, it was okay at home, being raised with five sisters and four brothers. We fought, we laughed, we did everything together. And school was cool too. But then I started hanging with the boys, and that made me a bad little girl. So I started fighting and stuff at school. And I didn't just start fighting, I started getting beat up. And then my brothers told me that I better fight back or they was gonna fight me, and I knew how they do us when mama and them wasn't around. So that made me start fighting in school and getting suspended, and then I finally calmed down as I got older in school. Was going to the football games and basketball games. Ended up, getting pregnant, from one of the football players, and then I had to figure out because I had two. I had to figure out which one of these players was my baby daddy. You know what I'm saying? So I always tell him I'm his daddy, even though I'm his mother. And he don't want to go on the Murray show. So, hey, you just got to believe what your mama tell you. That's how I feel about it. So after that kid, I ended up having three more, two sons and a daughter. Them three had the same father. Um, just having kids and ended up getting in some trouble, running this, well, it wasn't my trouble. Well, it was because that was my sister. And my sister
Can
ended
I
up,
catch you real quick?
please, come on.
I don't want you to go too far.
Okay, well, that'll work.
Okay, yeah,
I'll
we're gonna.
try to tell you. But yes, you come on with your
Uh,
questions.
yes, so I want to go back to your childhood.
Mm,
I want to ask first, were you getting bullied? Is that why you were fighting?
well, I was fighting because of my sisters, the two that's under me.
Uh-huh.
They was pretty much messing with them. I wasn't afraid to fight for real. I just
So
didn't
you was
choose to.
getting beat up for your sisters.
Yeah, you know how they used to say, the first one knocked a stick off your shoulder, and I knock it on off their shoulder. I was more afraid of being suspended, getting whooped by my mama than I was one of those so-called bullies.
Okay, so you were getting beat up because you didn't want to fight back. Now, when you started to fight back for your sisters, you were getting in trouble for your sisters.
Yeah, I'm getting in trouble at home because I get suspended because when I fought, I fought. If you was the one picking last week and then you the one picking this week, both of y'all finna get it. Cause I gotta go all the way out. You
So
know what I'm saying? It gotta be worth that whooping mama go give me.
yeah. So did they ever have your back the same way?
Oh yeah, they do their little thing, but they couldn't fight.
So they used you?
Ain't that yes, I say that me and my brothers.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, like I say, you better fight, and then you got to think about what's going to actually happen. Mama didn't just whoop me, you know what I'm saying? I had to get suspended, then I get the punishment. So
So
I
when your
had to
punishment
try to
hard,
learn how to fight in school, catch them around the corner at the corner store or something.
so you would, so you just took the punishment for your sisters.
Girl, my mama whooped me so much I started lacking it. I said she turned me into a little freak. I was like, hit me right here, mama. Hit me right there, mama. Don't stop, mama.
Oh wow.
Now,
But warning, like the good book say, warning comes before destruction. It ain't like she was just whooping me. She told me don't do this and don't do that. And a hard head always make a soft behind, as she would
mhm,
say.
yeah, yeah. Now, kind of going into your, I don't know if you wanted to call it a relationship, with the gentleman you were pregnant by. Um, what was that experience like? What was your parents' reaction? Your reaction? How did you know you wanted to go the route of keeping the baby? Like, what was your journey through that scenario?
Well, I ain't never believed in abortions. You know what I'm saying? As a kid or whatever, and I was afraid because I didn't know nothing about no having no baby. I was 15. I was 14 when I got pregnant. I had it when I was 15. So it was like it was my mother's baby, and I was my mom's baby, and she was upset about it, but she didn't never say, we gonna get rid of it, or she'll say that's gonna be your baby. In other words, I ain't get ready to stay at home with it, even though she pretty much took him from me. So, far as the daddy or whatever, like I said, I was confused. I didn't know which one of them it was, and we took a test, and it said it was the one they saying it is. But me personally, I still say it's not his. But they say the test know what it's saying. So my son 41 now. So long as he do right by his child, that's how I feel. Long as he do right by his children, that's all that's important for real. And he know which one he want to call daddy. So and which one he have a relationship with. So that's on them now, not me. That sound
Hold on. So
harsh, but I got other
I
things
just
to
want to
do.
ask real quick. I want to pick y'all. So they both take care of him.
Well, like I say, my son 41, he pretty much take care of himself. He got his own family, his beautiful wife, two children in the home, and one of them live in Texas. You know what I'm saying? So he grown now, and
No, I'm talking about when he was younger. I'm sorry, let me phrase that.
yeah. You know what, sisters, to be honest with you, they really didn't do their part. When my children was growing up, I was shoplifting, making sure my children had. You know what I'm saying? I made sure they wasn't without, because it wasn't they fault that this actually happened. So I made sure they was okay. But all praise be unto God, it's been over 20 years since I stole anything. So not even a man. So I pretty much took care of them. Now, not saying they wouldn't have, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what all they would have done or whatever, but I just didn't go to them for anything. My mom and sisters and stuff like that pretty much helped me with my children because I was a kid.
And what was the scenario of the second, if I believe you said marriage, um, with your three kids? Was that a healthy relationship? Were you still young and kind of just green about everything, and that's why it worked, or what was your experience there?
Well, the other three children, I was the guy I was dating. They father, um, he actually was married, and I wouldn't encourage nobody that's watching or listening to mess with a married man. Um, like I say, I was young and dumb. I say that about myself. But I ended up getting with him. He was married. Um, I knew the wife. She came to the house, talked to me outside, not in my house. But and we made a couple of blocks. She wanted to ride around the block or whatever. I had a knife up my sleeve about long as my arm. I said, now she'll pull out a gun and try to do something to me. I got her, but if she got a gun, I'm gonna have to get on out that car. You know what I'm saying? So they ended up splitting up or whatever when I got pregnant with my first one by him. And then, that made him come on to me. And we stuck it out for a while and three children. Really two, because I think that last baby somebody else's child while I'm on here talking. Uh, but the blood test came back saying it was they daddy too. So I don't know. Maybe I need to go on the Murray show. I don't know. But anyway, we hung in there for a while, and then he started fighting because we started using drugs together. He went from a big time drug dealer, and they say how you get high on your own supply, and that's when I started using. And he didn't get me to using. My neighbor, she was doing it too, so I went next door, and I kept telling her to let me try it. She didn't really want me to try it either. So she finally let me try Coke. And then I fussed at him till he started letting me try it. And I had to play it out. Oh, my mouth numb, so he would know that that was my first time, even though it wasn't my first time. And then I started, like I say, stealing and stuff. And uh, I didn't end up going to the rehab. I ended up going to jail, and the judge was gonna send me to the rehab, but I didn't go. I just asked God because Mama used to always say, "Be careful what you ask the Lord," and I asked Him if I used that stuff again, kill me, and I knew that that was gonna happen to me if I used again. And that thought kept me all those years until God truly delivered me from that. And that's been over 30 years ago.
Oh wow. Look, I don't even know where to go because you just threw a boatload in me and Sid's face just now, right? I think we're gonna be jumping back and forth, Sid.
Right, that's okay.
I want to ask because I love that you keep it real. I love it. I'm about to tell you that. I love that you keep it real. Okay, so the first dad could have been too far. Well, you knew who the father was because you did a DNA. Okay.
Right.
Second and third is by a married man. You knew he was married, or
I eventually found out, you know what I'm saying? And
uh-huh.
that's when me and her had a conversation. And she say she heard that he was like, he had a car, but he'll ride that bike over my house so he could put it in my kitchen. You know what I'm saying? Instead of driving the car over there.
So were you over 18 at this time?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to ask, so you said the fourth child might not be his. Can we
You know, he actually took a blood test and it said it is, but as I speak to you all right now, I say that I feel it isn't. You know, who to say that test can't be wrong?
that test right? If that test says his, you don't want it to be his
I was
baby.
watching Sisters and Karen got two guys, baby, in her. So I don't know. Maybe them two made that one together. I don't know.
So are you saying you cheated on him?
Girl, I just say I won't say I was a whore. But I was out there. You heard me.
You was out, was he out there too?
Well, they was they had it going on. They was like I wouldn't call them a kingpin, but they was what was happening back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They was it.
So you knew he had women.
All the women wanted these two.
So you knew he
And
was
I
cheating.
know
You got him, and you played him in the end because he tried to play you.
right. Well, I want you to say play, you can holler at me and I'll leave you. I ain't gotta wait for you to hit me. So it came to an end. But I can say this much about my children father, the last three. He really still there with them, even though they grown, they got a relationship. They can call on him, he can call on them, whatever. They love their dad. And me and him still talk, and I talk to his old lady and all that, but he know, it's nothing there as far as going to bed or no mess like that again. But we are good concerning our children and grandchildren.
That's awesome. That's always good to see that work out that way. Um, now, um, were you were you in a way okay, with the arrangement, like, were you, kind of doing your own thing as well, knowing that you didn't really have an attachment, or, were you the one that was hung up on him still, even though you knew he wasn't quite yours? Like, where was your mind frame in the matter?
Child, I was in love with him. And that's why it's crazy. How can you be in love with somebody else's man? You know what I'm saying? But when he kept running to my house and he knew how to cook, you know what I'm saying? So he made sure I was good. So I didn't just love him, I was in love with him. And now that we're not together, but we have these children and grandchildren, I love him, but I'm not in love with him. I don't want nothing to happen to him like he keep getting sick. My prayers is with him, and I call his name out when I pray. Because we don't hate each other. It just wasn't meant to be anymore. And then I wish he could have went back to his wife, but all that mess between me and him, I'm sure she didn't want him back. And sometimes I feel like sometimes I ain't saying he should have been my husband, but we can get out there and get a guy or whatever, and a lot of times that ain't who God got for us. I thank him for my children, because if he hadn't have gave them to me or helped me made them, I wouldn't have my 11 beautiful grandchildren and now one great grand. So it ain't all bad. Yep. So
Sorry. Oh, I don't know why my thing keeps doing that. That's me, maybe.
girl, so y'all.
Because I keep switching it up, but I don't know what I'm doing. I want to ask really, and it might be this new StreamYard thing because it be going like this. I want to ask. You say you used to shoplift.
Yes.
How long did you shoplift? and you had a man that was big time. Why did you feel as though you had to shoplift?
Well, when I first started shoplifting, I didn't have and I wasn't just stealing for him. I was stealing for me. So my mom thought I had a job. I left home every day at the same time and returned home pretty much the same time. And I had like 3 big old hefty trash bags full of stuff. One be for my baby, one be for me, and one be for to sell. And then I just kept doing it. It didn't matter who had money and who didn't have money. That was something I had, a spirit I had got on me. So it was just in me. That was just one of my things I did. And I didn't steal from these little bitty stores or out of no one home or nothing like that. I hit them big stores. I make sure it was worth my while. But like I said, it's been over 20 years since I've stole something. And I was stealing the best. Why not buy the best now? You know what I'm saying? And pretty much I said everything that have happened in my life, I don't hate that it happened, and I wish I could have did something different. But at the same time, now can't nobody get me to steal nothing. Can't nobody get me to use alcohol. Can't nobody get me to use marijuana. Can't nobody get me to use coke and do all these other things that I've done in my years of living. But if I hadn't already did it, I'd probably be more open to doing. So I hope that answered that question.
um, what with being coming into motherhood pretty young, what was your relationship with your kids like? Especially your first, kind of more so being raised by your mom. How were those relationships, and how were you kind of able to balance or kind of come into I'm a mother more so their friend or babysitter even, how did all of that come to play?
Well, I eventually got my own place, and then we finally moved to St. Louis. We mainly lived in Arkansas. And then I moved them to St. Louis for a little while. Then I ended up bringing them back to Arkansas. It just was a lot of mess. And like I say, thank God for my mom and sisters and stuff like that. Cause my mom passed while I was incarcerated. He was pretty much back with me. It ain't like I just gave him to her. She pretty much helped with him. Like, say for instance, if he cried at nighttime and I'm crying too, cause I'm a kid, I'm like, why is this baby crying? And she'll say, bring it here or bring him here or whatever. She helped like that. I seen her raise my other sisters and brothers that's under me, and I also seen her raise some of the grandchildren, help raise some of the grandchildren from my siblings that was older. So I pretty much knew how to feed my baby and change my baby and, and do different stuff like that. So she didn't really just take over. Ugh. I'm sorry. I got it on Do Not Disturb. I don't know why the hell it would ring if I got it Do Not Disturb till 7 o'clock. Till it's 6
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm like, this just pissed me off. Let me turn it. Let's see. I don't know if the watch allowed it to do it or what allowed it, but I did. But back to what I was saying. Like I say, my mom. How do you turn this watch off? Focus. Do not disturb. Anyway, I'm sorry. I was saying, she didn't pretty much just raise him as her own. It was my baby. So I eventually moved out of my mom's house and got my own house. You know, I pretty much been on my own since I was like 16. You know,
So I want to lead up because we do have to let go because you got a show tonight. So we're trying to get as much in as we can. So we got to end a little early, but I'm trying to get as much. Me and City said.
yeah.
So you said that you were incarcerated. What led up to you being incarcerated? And when you get there, I don't want you to go too far because I know Sid
Right.
gonna have a question after that.
Well, over 30 years ago, I got in some trouble. One of my sisters was dating this man, and the man was dating somebody else. So it was a lot of mess, drama. And I was living in California at the time, and my sister kept calling me, telling me this lady was messing with her, and she was older. The lady was older, and my sister was 6 months pregnant at the time. So she said the lady had pulled a gun on her, this and that. And I ended up going back to Arkansas. And we was at a club down the street from my mom's house, and we were walking down the street. And a car came driving slow, and I said, "Get out the way, y'all. That might be her trying to run over us," because she was picking in the club. And a big old fight broke out. All kind of people fighting after the club, shooting and everything. And my statement had got me locked up because I said I shot one time, and that's how many times she was shot when her and my sister was fighting. And I still don't understand how it could have been my bullet when her and my sister fighting, and I could have shot my own sister. So why would I point a gun, not knowing if I'm gonna hit my sister? So that's been bothering me for over 30 years, but I have asked the mother and children to forgive me if it was me. And I asked God to forgive me, and I feel like He did. So I eventually forgave myself and moved on after one of her children said, "Miss Rudd, I forgave you years ago." She said, "Free yourself." So, you know, that's what I did. Freed myself.
And before I get into my question, just to clarify, did the young lady lose her life, or was she just shot?
No, she actually passed away that night.
Wow. Um, I just want to mention because earlier, for whatever reason, a focal point for Demetria was, you sticking up for your sisters, and it's just crazy that, this is kind of how
Right.
that kind of came to pass. Once you all were adults. Um, Now, you know, could you have
And
imagined?
not cutting you off, sister. And the same sister that I'm talking about ain't even speaking to me on today. And she's supposed to be a preacher. And you know, that's
It's
bothering me too. Because God say, "How can you love me who you can't see, but you don't love that person that you see?" And whatever I did, I asked her to forgive me if it was something that I said or done or whatever. I'm not too big to ask for forgiveness, but you can't keep holding on to whatever it is because it wasn't that bad. You know what I'm saying? If I ain't upset with you for doing time in prison and you didn't you sent me one money order and it wasn't a postal money order and I sent it back to you and I've been out over 30 years and never seen that money order. Anything else, you shouldn't be mad about anything. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not.
And
So
that's what I was going to ask. That was going to be my question after you said was, did your sister ride a 38-year bid? So you answered that. I want to say that's messed up, but go
it
ahead. Cynthia.
is. I love my sisters and brothers, but you know, and teeth and tongue fall out. You know what I'm saying? And then let me say this real quick before I get off here. A lot of time when people call themselves falling out with you, they been talked about you so bad to other people. They're afraid of what that person gonna think or say if they start back talking to you or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that is so sickening to me. If I've done something to you, I don't have a problem with saying, forgive me. Because God said in order to be forgiven, you must forgive. He said it, not me. So, it's in his hand. I ain't got nothing else to do with it or whatever. I done did my part.
Well, since you kind of touched on who didn't ride out that bed with you, was there anyone in particular, that did, or that showed up and showed out in your time of need?
Well, I would shout out Miss Shirley Danner. Miss Shirley Danner did like 46 or 48 years in prison. She was a young girl and a white man. Now, I'm not prejudiced either. I'm just telling y'all what it was. It was a white man lost his life, and they gave her life without. But the God we served allowed her to get out, and she been out about 8 years, and she's an ordained minister. And when I tell you that lady took me up under her wings and she helped me through those trying times, preaching and praying and all that good stuff, and that kept me them years I was in there, and my mom passed while I was in there. I almost lost my mind. So I shout her out. That's who really helped me through all those trying times. Miss Shirley Danner, Evangelist Shirley Danner. Yes, she out now running around preaching and sharing the goodness of the good Lord.
Oh,
And so,
it's my go. Look, I'm waiting on, look, I'm like waiting on you. Um, can you tell us, 30 years is a long time. How did you feel doing time for someone else and they've completely turned their back on you?
Well, first of all, let me say this. Like I said prior to talking, I don't even know if the bullet that came from my gun took that young lady's life. So, but I was fighting concerning my sister because that's my sister. And we was in this club and they were doing the little slides and stuff. And the lady kept bumping into my sister. And me, when I have marijuana, I wouldn't get up. I'd be just pretty much observing things. And I noticed she kept bumping my sister. My sister 6 months pregnant. So I got up and I got between them and I told old girl to bump me. And my sister was like, forget that, sister, trying to make peace or whatever. And so I left it alone. And I was sitting there with my foot up in the chair, and then old girl was with the young lady, put her foot up in her knew that they was picked. And then, like I say, when we left out of there, we was actually walking down the street to my mom's house, and I was gonna get my clothes. No, my sister said she was getting her clothes off of my mama clothesline, and I said, "Don't wake mama up, cause I ain't ready to get my children yet." And and when everything went down, back in the day, they used to leave their windows open, doors open, and all kinds of stuff open. And I ran in my mama house, and my mama said, cause she heard the gunshots going on, and she said, "Oh Lord, James, Cynthia been shot." I said, "Mama, I ain't been shot. I think I done shot somebody like that." And she said, "Oh shit, I gotta keep them children." And that was funny to me. Like it was all right if I was shot. And that's the only thing I found funny about that situation. But like I said, and I say it again, I don't know if the bullet from the gun that I had came was the one took that young lady's life. And if it did, you know what I'm saying? Like I say, I have asked for forgiveness, but my spirit just won't allow me to believe that I did it.
and you
And let
already
me say
explained.
this before you go any further, sister.
Yes.
Before I realized that it was her and my sister fighting over this man, when I was shoplifting, she happened to be one of my customers that I sold stuff to for her children. So it wasn't like she was no enemy of mine. You know what I'm saying? I sold her clothes. I sit over her house, smoke weed with her, and I didn't know this was the same lady. So that really bothered me for many years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. I can understand
Right.
that. Now, you already, kind of told us, growing up, you would get into fights and things like little petty things like that. But could you wholeheartedly say, you were prepared with or for the culture of prison? What was the first few weeks like for you? Was it a hard acclimation to that lifestyle? Like what was that like for you?
Well, I did 11 months in the county jail, and then I did 3 years in prison. County jail, you pretty much in your own little cell or whatever, and me personally, I trust God when I can't trust myself. So I knew He was with me regardless of where I was. So I wasn't afraid to go down there. I just knew I couldn't get caught up in all the mess that go on in there. I started going to the chapel when they had a church. I started singing in the choir that they had. I did everything positive that was in prison. I didn't get involved in the negative stuff, and that what helped me get on out of there. They got classes like I kept my class 1A. That's the highest class you can get. I kept mine. I stayed out the way. If I couldn't, and I started pretty much doing comedy before I went in there. But then while I was in there, if it be a situation, I might tell them a joke or something, make them laugh to change that whatever thought they had or whatever. Because I've always been an entertainer. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't hard. I stayed on the officer side. I didn't make them angry at me. I stayed cool with them, so they pretty much watched over me. Um, I was dating one officer. He was in the control booth, and he'll come through there counting, and he be like 5, 6, 7, 8, and I be laying in there with my regular drawers on and t-shirt, and he'll stop and talk to me, and eventually he talked me into going in the control booth, and I gave it to him. So
Hold on, wait a minute. So you were sleeping with the officer?
the officer was sleeping with me.
The officer was sleeping with you? How
Yes,
long did
and
you have a
we
relationship
actually
with
we
the
actually
officer?
talked. We actually kept in touch once I got out for a little while. Then I lost contact with him. But I, and he was, making sure I was okay in there. I didn't have to contact my mom them, for nothing, cause I needed them to take care of my children with what they had. You know what I'm saying? I was good in there. Until my time was up.
Hold up.
I
So
didn't
he
need
bought you
nobody to
stuff.
send
He
me nothing.
bought nobody was under the assumption that y'all was sleeping together.
Girl, them people were locked down and sleep. And I go when I be the only one ain't sleep. I wait for him to come on to work. He didn't work every night, but the nights he worked, I went in there. It was my thing. I could do what I want to do. They could tell me who to.
So you got your groove on in jail.
Come on now. And a while back when that was going on, it was on the news and everything. People was getting, females was getting pregnant. And the only reason I didn't, because I had him to use protection, and if his protection broke, I was still already spayed and neutered, if you want to call it that. My tubes was tied, I was fixed, so I couldn't have no children.
And how long were y'all in a relationship?
My 3 years.
Woo, that's a long time.
On that, I would have got him when I got out, but he was living in a different part, and I moved to a different part, and I ain't with that long distance relationship and stuff like that. We called a couple of times, then by that time somebody else done grabbed me. You know what I'm saying? So
But you secured the bank while you them 3 years.
I ain't lying about it. That man kept money on my books. I didn't have to go without commissary, as they call it. He pretty much took care of me while I was in there, and I didn't have to ask my mom them for nothing. That way they can make sure my children was all right till I got home.
That's right.
Yeah. And sometimes I even haven't sent something there. You know what I'm saying? So
Understood.
he
Demetri, do
eventually
you?
got fired. You know, he probably tried to go on the other wing and do the same thing, but he eventually got fired, you know. And this is my first time just putting it out there. So I didn't say his name or nothing or what prison. So they Google all that and find all that. He is no longer there. And I'd have had about 10 since him.
He'll be fine now. So, man, I love you. Before we go, I want to ask one more question. That I just want to get off my chest. Being 14 and being pregnant, did that make changes in your body? Like, what did people? Were you embarrassed? Did people tease you?
No, I had my little group of people I hung with, you know what I'm saying? And some of them had babies. You know, I didn't ever think I would be one of them, you know what I'm saying? And I kept my baby with me. Like I say, my mom mainly helped me like at nighttime. I'm trying to go to school and this baby crying and I'm crying, you know. But I wouldn't change nothing. I wouldn't change my children. You know, my daughter, she acting up right now, but I still wouldn't trade my children for no other children.
Can I ask you? You said a group of your girls pregnant. On average, what do you think is the age that a lot of girls, because parents be overlooking this, and we try to bring transparency, that they start having sexual intercourse?
I started like letting them the way ain't no deal where it was a couple of them, but not at the same time. You know, like they say, rubbing and the little kissing and you know, going on in before the street light go out, and then soon as school out, you back out there doing it. You hurry up with your homework so you can go out there, you know, and all they say is get in here before that street light go out. They ain't say don't do this and don't do that before it go out, you know. And then eventually the little boy touched down there, and that felt kind of weird but good, like something going on. I'm gonna let him do that again, and it went from that to the you know, putting it in and all that old stuff. So I would tell the parents that's watching or listening, you know, regardless of how your kid feel and think that you being mean or whatever, stay on them. You know, check their little phone, their little iPads and stuff. Make sure they doing what you told them to do. And the kids that's watching, don't think your mom's being mean. They just want what's best for you. And if you can hold out, hold out. Don't be in no hurry to have a baby or have sex or, you know, be in the streets or whatever. You know, keep your mind in your books, not in the streets. Because the books is what's going to really help you. Don't get me wrong, you're going to need some street sense too. But the books going to get you higher, you know, and good always outweigh bad. So I would say try to do good before you think about doing bad.
Okay. All right. We almost at time. You have to go. So we're gonna end it off.
I was just gonna
If you
say,
can,
I would just like to say, you know, when I got out of prison, uh, I was trying to get a job. I got a couple jobs. Then they find out the truth. They let me go. So I got a whole lot of no's when I got out. No, 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 no. So with the help of the good Lord, I had to make a yes for myself, and that's why I became one of the best comedians there is. And God had me all around the world. A year ago, I got denied for my pardon, and God brought it to my memories that He pardoned me before I was in my mother's womb, and how He have allowed me to go to the Apollo, performed on Southwest Airlines in the sky. You know, 2 times they lied like I had cancer. I didn't have no cancer. You know, and once again, like I say, been blessed with 4 grown children, 11 beautiful grandchildren. My this is my third one getting ready to graduate on Saturday. My grandbaby Maya, the one that blessed me with my great grandbaby. And then just in my right mind. So many say I'm crazy, but I can say I'm in my right mind. My health is pretty good. I say out of 100, I say 98. So I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? I won't go back, and if I go back, it'll be like Monique did when she went back and said, "I could have been your cellmate." She shot that movie. I love to shoot a movie and let them know I was your cellmate.
Okay. All right. So, what advice would you give people to stay out of trouble?
Man, don't bow, don't bend. Always, if you ain't a believer, become a believer, cause God gonna give you a warning before destruction. And if you don't pay no attention to that warning, you gonna either get locked up or covered up. Ain't no way around it. No way around it. Locked up, covered up. So hey, if you like when I just use this example. When I was living in California, million of people was doing something, and I knew in my spirit it was wrong, and my mama said it was wrong, God said it was wrong, so it was wrong to me, and I didn't join in. So you gonna know right from wrong, but it's gonna be up to you to choose right from wrong. And you get in trouble, just know that you got yourself in trouble. Don't put that burden on your mom and dad and family, thinking they got to send you money for however long you in there. Even though I got two in there right now, and all praises be unto God. I thank my baby boy in the hole because I ain't heard from him in a couple of weeks. But my other son, I just spoke with him on Mother's Day. That made my day. They getting ready to get out this year. Now they need to stay out because God ain't going to keep giving you chances to get it right. And this ain't something I heard, y'all. This something I know.
Absolutely. And we always want to give our guests a chance to participate in Shameless Plug. You see all of your information scrolling across the bottom here. Let the viewers know how they can get up with you. If there's anything that you have for sale, merch, books, events, dates, anything you want to draw traffic to, you have the floor.
Well, what I'm selling, I can't sell it on her. I'm joking. Tonight, if you watching and you in the St. Louis area, you can catch me at the KJ's on Broadway. Yes, Sean Jones is your headliner, and I am your feature tonight. So it starts at 8 o'clock. Come on out and get your laugh on. And if you got a budget and you booking, you can find me over on Instagram at Miss Arkansas Comedy, or you can Google me, Bing me, just book me and pay me. Uh, I sell cups. I was trying to sell the fans, but everybody that want to make them for me want an arm and a leg. So I just keep selling my cups. And my cups, you just scan the SKU card and my comedy pop up. Yes, so dope. So when you see me, get one of those, and they ain't arm and leg. I will leave y'all with this. Out of my 56 years of living, I've learned to trust God when I can't trust myself. If you don't know him, get to know him. And if you know him, learn to trust him. And I'm your girl, Miss Arkansas. I'm out. Peace. I can't
Hey,
hear
you're
you.
on mute. You're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Look, I was just talking. Thank you for tuning in, Miss Arkansas. We appreciate you. Hold 1 second. Thank you for tuning in to Unfiltered Unspoken podcast. We're going to continue to share life experiences. Ain't that right, City said?
That's right.
Y'all have a blessed
Right.
day.
And I just want to say to you young ladies, keep doing what you're doing. You getting the word out to the people around the world. I suffer from depression, but I always just cry out to God. When I first was diagnosed with depression, I was on medication, and that medication was making me worse. So I had to learn how to lean on the Lord and know that this too shall pass. So, don't always turn to medication because medication it's like, say, for instance, they tell you about Coke. One is too many and 1,000 is not enough. And that's pretty much with anything you do. One is not enough and one is too many and 1,000 is not enough. And you girls, should I say you ladies, Y'all can come on me anytime, you know, and
We are.
I'm available. I'll show up. And
I want you to come back for a part two.
I thank y'all so much because, you know, when I come on shows like these, they allow me to tell my story instead of waiting on TMZ to try to tell it, and they ain't gonna tell the truth, but I will.
That's right. And we got to go because she got to go, but she's coming back because I'm about to set it up. Peace. Y'all have a blessed day. Stay 1 second, Miss Arkansas.